Okay, along comes social media, and believe me, the Israelis looked at this very differently than we did. When we started watching social media, especially Twitter, as much as I hate to criticize my beloved responders in the fire service, I think that we saw this as an annoyance, especially for the law enforcement component of the fire service. So annoying. Everybody in there is commenting on us. They're taking our pictures. The Israelis, I think, saw social media as a tremendous opportunity to get information from the public. Twitter comes along, and again, I think most of us saw it as kind of silly, the word Twitter. Oh, you're a twit, because you tweet on Twitter. Lots of silly jokes. And then Mumbai came along. Now, this is in India, of course. November of 2008, for 4 days, 164 people were gunned down by terrorists who just went around and shot people. This is a train station. They just went in and randomly started shooting. That one we just passed is just another example of a bombing. They threw bombs into shops. They threw bombs into cafes. Inside this cafe, there were people hiding under the table, tweeting for help. It was the first time that I had heard that expression, tweeting for help. What is that about? The downside of that as well is that the bad guys were on social media. They were monitoring what people were saying, and they were setting up a secondary attack for the responders. And this is when we really saw the ugly side of social media. This is Miki Rosenfeld. He is the lead PIO for the Israeli National Police. During this interview, he was very enthusiastic with me about sharing, the things they do and why he gets on Twitter immediately, because it serves him well. He told me that when he gets dispatched to go to an incident, it is his goal to be on Twitter within 1 minute, within 60 seconds. He will pull the car off to the side of the road and say something about where he's going. Now, I have told that over the last year, since I've been back. I've told that to a lot of officers in America, and boy, they just wince. They say, "Are you kidding?" I don't want to tell people what I'm doing. First of all, it might be a false alarm. You get people all upset. Or I don't want people to go there, and all this kind of stuff. What Mickey says is that, first of all, he doesn't necessarily release incident information. It's safety information, public safety information. And he says when people are getting hurt, there are no secrets. We don't worry about something that is an active incident. Have you ever heard this expression, we don't comment on active incidents? I'm seeing some heads nod, you've heard that. Now that's one that makes my skin crawl. There are bullets flying through a neighborhood and the police are not commenting? Are you kidding? Everybody else is. Everybody with a cell phone is commenting, and the reporters are commenting on the fact that the police are not commenting. We've all seen that on television. So anyway, what Mickey says is he says what he thinks the public needs to know to be safe. He'll just say something like responding to a police action in a particular neighborhood or whatever, just to let people know that he is the source. He owns it. He will own it with a hashtag. He will go on Twitter, own that incident that tells the public he is where they should go if they want to see for more information. Now I want to show you this next thing. This is a knife, and you probably can't see the date, it's right there, but this is like 2 weeks ago. Mickey posted this on Facebook. You can see that this is enough. What happened was a female terrorist, if you could read the script below it, attacked an officer. And he shot her, okay? That knife is laying on the ground. Mickey takes a picture, puts it online. Now, what would happen in the US with that picture of that knife? Anybody wanna, so many of you commented, what would happen to that picture? It would not, first of all, it wouldn't go out on social media, would it? And it would be entered into evidence, correct? Okay. And it would not be released because why?
It's an open case.
It's an open case. It's under investigation. We don't release stuff because it's under investigation. Yeah, okay. I thought of that. I just downloaded this picture last night. I follow Nikki on social media, on Twitter. I just downloaded this last night and I thought about that incident and I thought, wow. He totally, made the point just showing that picture. That officer had no choice. That could have been fatal. Okay. So anyway, under investigation, I would submit to you, is quickly becoming an archaic expression. There are a lot of good reasons that we don't release information that's under investigation. In fact, I can probably tell you about 10. You can affect witness testimony, you can take the jury pool, you can increase the chances you'll be reversed on appeal, etc., 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 etc. But bottom line, if you can save lives, prevent protests, prevent riots, prevent an officer having his reputation destroyed, all the things that can happen on social media, I would say it's time we start reconsidering what we can release and what we can't release. Okay. This is Cheryl Fiandaca. She is she's my hero. Does anybody know her, by the way? If you ever meet her, would you tell her Karen Terrill is out here worshiping her from afar? Oh my gosh, she just rocked. She showed the world what a PIO can do. Okay? She took a hold of that thing and she used these 3 techniques, the big 3, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And this is how she used it. First of all, how she used Twitter. This is one of my all-time favorite tweets. I know you can't read it, so I'll read it for you. It's from the Boston Police Department. By the way, I want to show you these numbers here. They had about 40,000 followers until the bombing, and they were over 300,000 by the time this was all done. Everybody went to Boston Police for this information, even though there was a lot of stuff on Twitter about and wrong stuff, but they were going to the Boston Police Department, and this is my favorite of their tweets. It says, "Captured. The hunt is over, the search is done, the terror is over, and justice is won. Suspect in custody." Isn't that a wonderful use of 140 characters? Doesn't that just, love it, love it, love it. This is how she used Facebook to personalize those victims. Look at that smile. This is how they used Instagram. They mined for intel, okay? Not just putting information out, asking the public for information, and this was considered one of the main reasons why they got those guys. Here again, when I first became a PIO, information and intel, parallel universes and never the twain shall meet. I remember talking to our investigators and they said, "You just take the media over there, don't you worry your little head about intel. You just wrangle the media, get the media out of my hair, I'll take care of the investigation and the intel part of it." And there's good reasons for that, I get it, you want to keep your responders safe, and there's a lot of, they need to protect some information. Very, very important. But more and more with You know, at our incidents, we used to have 6 or 8 media outlets show up at a big incident, right? Now, how many reporters show up at your incidents? Is it safe to say a couple of hundred? Because everybody with a cell phone is a reporter now, right? You've got hundreds of people showing up at these events, talking about it and tweeting it. The noise is deafening. And so we really need to use that, and I am coining a term. Let's use social media to crowdsource intel, to get intel from the public. That's what the Israelis taught Boston to do, and that's what they did. This is an Israeli EOC. How many of you have a lot of experience working with EOCs? You've been in a lot of EOCs, okay? Most of you in this room, I see. Wouldn't you agree that most communities treat their EOC almost like black ops? I mean, it's a high security place. You have to SWAT things, you have to go in, you can't take a picture of this or that. And, you know, I suppose there was a time when that was important to do, and there still are times when it's important to do. But this is how the Israelis handle their EOC. They proudly put all those cameras, they're online. The public can go right to it and get pictures of whatever they're taking. This guy couldn't stop talking about how proud he was of how transparent they are and how much they work with the public to keep people safe. I remember he said, there are no secrets. When people are getting hurt, there are no secrets. We want to help. I thought this was an interesting, did I just pass something? Oh, okay. Lessons learned. Okay. First, bring the PIO in at the beginning. Secondly, get on social media immediately. 1 and 2. Okay. Come on, give me Atlanta. Okay. Remember Atlanta? Anybody from Atlanta? Okay, bless your hearts. You remember when you guys just got snowed under? You just don't know what to do with snow, do you? I live in snow country now, so I know what you're talking about, but at the time, I think I was in California. I thought, well, this is your police chief. Bless his heart. The 911 was overwhelmed. I mean, the phones just couldn't take care of all these Georgia peaches sliding all over the freeway. I don't mean to laugh. I don't think anybody got seriously hurt, but this was a big mess, right? And he actually was quoted on the Atlanta Journal, I believe is your newspaper, correct? Journal.
I work with them.
Oh, you work with it? Okay. I pulled this quote right off of the paper, and it says, you can't read it, if you're stranded and cannot get through to 911, please send the Atlanta Police Department a message through Facebook or Twitter. Got that, isn't that cool? More and more, we're seeing police and fire departments saying, okay, you know, we better start monitoring our Facebook pages because people are more likely to go on Twitter than they are on television anymore. At least the younger, the millennials, that's the first thing they go. I don't know, it's counterintuitive to me, but it is a huge part of our population who will do that. Oh boy. Okay, the Weizmann Institute, when we cure cancers, it'll probably happen here. This is in Israel. I'm going back to Israel here. When you drive through this gate, you can tell it is something amazing. Scientists both live and work at the Weizmann Museum, and we know that this is a huge target for terrorists. Cameras, sensors everywhere. This particular lesson that I want to learn here is the Weizmann Institute is surrounded by 2 fences. And the idea is, you know, when somebody gets over a fence in, you know, we're in a controlled facility, they're in. Sirens may be going off, but they get over that fence, they're in. And the Weizmann Institute, there's a huge fence way back here, and then this fence here. And you have to have a pass to get in through here. So if somebody does get over that back fence, they've got to go all the way down here with sensors going off and everything. So it's just a delay, it's redundancy. And this is lesson number 3. Be redundant. Build redundancy into all of your emergency response. This morning, I put that into practice. I got up and came over here with my laptop, and I thought, I'll just take notes on my laptop. I'm not gonna bring my iPad. Well, I had my laptop plugged in overnight, but I think I had it plugged into the computer, but didn't have it plugged into the wall. I think I've done that before. So anyway, I opened up my computer, it was dead. So I quietly went back to the hotel, grabbed my iPad, and brought it in, sat down, ready for strike two. The iPad keyboard died. So, okay, I'm good with redundancy. I'm going to paper and pen, and so I took my notes on a notepad. So, redundancy is important, and boy, we learned that in Hurricane Sandy too. Remember Hurricane Sandy? We saw that coming a week ahead of time. We were wired like you can't believe. I mean, satellites, websites. We had every social media plan you could think of, and then 3 days with no power. And those PIOs were writing on paper with Sharpies and a nail and a hammer, putting them on the wall, you know, telling people, you know, fresh water this direction, you know, take your pets that direction, whatever it was. So redundancy is absolutely key. Of course, this is one of the saddest reminders about our need to be redundant in the United States. The EOC and the JIC were in the towers on September 11th. So, be redundant is your next lesson. The police working side by side, the jurisdictional things, we've already talked about that. Revisit and readjust your messages. This is what we see here is the Gaza Strip. Okay? So our second message that I want to talk about is the need to, you've got existing messages there, revisit and adapt them as they go along. What you see here in the Gaza Strip, this is the Gaza Strip back here, and you are standing in a neighborhood, in a backyard right here. They fire missiles from shoulder-held rocket missiles here. It takes, and they are detected by a thing called the Iron Dome. It's a sensor system that can detect incoming missiles. In this particular neighborhood, they've got 30 seconds to get to a bomb shelter. 30 seconds to get to a bomb shelter, okay? So, and these are just examples of the bombs that have flown into this neighborhood. They just go pick them up. That's a bomb shelter, this thing right there, okay? That's a bomb shelter, that's a bomb shelter, okay? This is what a family looks like when they go into the bomb shelter. Look at those kids covering their ears, okay? The problem with these bombs, these sirens going off, this is a young neighborhood. And imagine a young mom, she's got an infant in her arms, she's got a toddler right there. One of those screeching things go off. The infant starts to buck and goes into the startle response. What's a toddler do when he gets scared? Runs, he's under the bed, right? And you've got 30 seconds, okay? So, you revisit your message, what do? Learn to use color red, color red, color red. That's what comes out on those sirens. They adjusted the message accordingly and it works, okay? Revisit and adjust your messages. The message to these people who are running from a wildfire is what? Where to go, you know, where the evacuation centers are, what roads are blocked, that kinds of things. Those are the messages those people need right now. Very different from the message the family needs when they get back. They need to know whether or not there's mitigation funds available, whether or not the Stafford Act has come through with money so they can rebuild, et cetera, okay? These next two messages I'm going to tell you about are very unpleasant. I just want to give you a little warning, but I think they're extremely critical to watch. And that is watch for trends and changes. And again, this would apply to our world. This is, I'm going to go back and show you where we are. This is the area of the Galilee Medical Center. It is right here on the border between Lebanon and Israel. And this is their emergency room. It's a bunker because they're constantly dealing with incoming. Okay? This is where they treat people, obviously, and there are snipers that fire down from the Lebanese highlands there down onto the neighborhoods and schools in that northern part of Israel. This young doctor told us a trend that she has observed. She says that young girls are being shot in their lower back with enough frequency that she sees this as a trend. And it was her thinking that those snipers are shooting those girls not to kill them, to render them unable to reproduce, and to make them a liability for the government. A terrorist is just going to kill a disabled girl. She's worthless, right? The Israelis will spend millions trying to give that girl a life. And so it was her theory that that's why this is happening. So, Mickey Rosenfeld, the PIO, imagined his job is to get that message out to the public. And this doctor, he books people like her to talk to the media, to go on social media, and to kind of warn against this kind of thing. You tell young girls, if you live near this border, be aware. Don't stand still out in the open. It's like I said, unpleasant trend. Here's another unpleasant trend that I was just jaw-dropping to me. The terrorists are starting to target baby buggies with cars on the sidewalk. So can you imagine, there's Mickey in the background there. He has to advise people who are walking their baby buggies how to avoid this, and he says things like, don't be still on a sidewalk unless there is some kind of concrete between you and the traffic, okay? Watch out for each other, watch out for yourself, and yeah, it's a trend. So what I would say to you, again, is observe trends in your world. This is one of the trends that we have seen this year. Officers being attacked, right? This has come up in Homeland Security meetings that I've attended. I was really pleased when one of the last meetings I attended, they brought us as PIOs and officers together in one room and talked about it. You know, and of course a lot of people would say, don't talk about this on social media, just call attention to it, and we'll have copycats, right? That's what we always worry about. Don't talk about it, you put ideas in their heads. But at the same time, you can crowdsource this fine young gentleman, telling him, watch for this stuff and tell us about it. And I would submit you're going to get much better results out of talking about this than you are not mentioning it to not give people ideas. But I don't know, it's just something to think about. Okay, so again, lessons learned, watch for trends and ideas. I just wanted to give you a smile. The cutest thing you ever saw in your life. I got this on the Boston Police website. Okay, and I want to leave you with a smile, okay? Here's another thing we learned from the Israelis. These are some of the happiest, most neighborly people I have ever met. You walk in and you just feel like they're putting your arms around you, you know, you go into the restaurants and everything. Very neighborly oriented. They like their cops and their cops like them. I thought you might enjoy this.